First of all, Dave, thanks for doing this with us here today. The first time we met was at that saloon bar in Hollywood talking about Man with the Iron Fists.
All right.
And I remember I walked away from that just blown away by you, because it's not often you meet people in this town who are as humble as you are. Because I remember we were talking, you're thinking, you got to be grateful for roles like this because, and you said something absurd, something like, guys like me, you take the roles you get. Now here we are a couple of years later.
Right.
You're in one of the biggest comic book movies of all time.
Right.
You're about to step into probably arguably the biggest franchise of all time with that. Talk a little bit how your life has changed and how you've managed this, moving from, where you were a few years ago to where you are now.
Well, it was, still, even after that first interview, a lot of hard times, a lot of auditioning. It wasn't easy. It was still a hard road. Well, after that, I struggled, and it was Guardians that was really the turnaround for me. But I really, up until then, I struggled to get work, and it was really, it was proven, and we probably talked about this before. It was proving to people that I actually wanted to be an actor. That I didn't want to just get typecast as that, that guy coming from the WWE who would, kick open doors and shoot somebody and say something stupid and, walk around with my shirt off, sticking my chest out the whole movie. I didn't want to be that guy, and I fought really hard not to be that guy because I wanted people to take me serious as an actor.
Right.
Because that's what I fell in love with. That's what I left wrestling for. I left wrestling to act. I didn't leave to be a movie star. I didn't leave to make millions and millions of dollars. I left to be an actor because I fell in love with it. So it was a hard road, and it was James Gunn, it was Sarah Finn, who believed in me, and kind of made things turn around for me, because it really wasn't even till after Guardians was released that I started getting calls.
Right.
Because even till after I had the part, and because there's a long gap from where we wrapped with Guardians until it was released, where I just sat there by the phone, waiting and trying to get auditions for roles, and it just wasn't happening, man.
You mentioned James Gunn. We had him in our studio a while back, and I remember he saying, I kind of like pre-production on a movie. I kind of like post-production. I don't like shooting a movie. Right. But he said, Dave Bautista made going to the set every day fun. He said, Dave Bautista is like one of the best guys to work with on set. He really so your relationship with him there was obviously really good. But you weren't just a one-hit wonder. It wasn't just Guardians and out. Right. You're now in Spectre. Yeah. So before we get into any specifics, just the James Bond franchise is one I celebrate. My mother celebrates. Her mother celebrates. What's it like stepping into a franchise as beloved as this?
It's kind of crazy, man. It's crazy as you would imagine it to be, and it's really because it's something when you grow up watching. It's such a legacy and such a franchise. Everybody knows who James Bond is. If you don't know who James Bond is, where have you been? Yeah. It's been around 50 years. How can you not be familiar with James Bond? And it's just very surreal. It's just weird. It makes me feel like a little kid, and it makes me also wonder, about the future, because the way I look back on characters that I'll be associated with, characters like Jaws, characters like Odd Job, those are the type of guys. But I look back and it's like great memories. Like I love those characters, and I wonder if kids will watch this 20 years down the road and be like, yeah, that guy's great. Or people talking about it 20 years, 30 years down the road. Yeah, it was great. I love Odd Job. I love Jaws. I loved Hinks. I want to be in that class. It kind of tickles me thinking about people looking at me the way I look at like Odd Job or Jaws or something like that.
Because it's almost like a lot of times we talk about James Bond, and there's a couple things that are synonymous with him. One is the Bond girl, and one is the Bond villain. Right. Like the most like that. Even like when Mike Myers is doing his spoof movie, he's got to spoof the Bond villains. Right. Now we're still a few months away from the movie coming out. Right. You can't say a lot at this point, but what can you tell us about Mr. Hinks at this point?
I can tell you this. I'll tell you specific things about Mr. Hinks. He's a very elegant character. He's very well dressed, very manicured. He's very intelligent. He's one step ahead. He's very methodical, very focused. He's just a man on a mission. But I think the way I looked at Hinks, and I think the way Sam wanted me to look at Hinks, is he doesn't really have a care in the world, because he doesn't believe that anybody is more badass than himself. So he doesn't really, he looks at, James Bond like he's just nothing. He's a gnat. He's a fly. He's an irritant. And that's the way I thought of it. And that's the kind of the mindset that I kept throughout the film, because there's just a very lighthearted feeling about Hinks. And it's all a perspective thing. I joke about this all the time, but if you ask a bad guy if he's a bad guy, he's probably going to say no, because he doesn't see himself as a bad guy. And I'm sure that Hinks doesn't think he's a bad guy. He thinks James Bond is a bad guy. So why why? And also the easy thing to do is put on a mean face and a scowl and try to be intimidating, and that's not intimidating to me. The intimidating thing, the terrifying thing, is a big guy who's intimidating by just looking at you like he knows something that you don't and smiling at you when you think at any minute this guy could break me in half. That's terrifying. But he's smiling at me. Why is he smiling at me? What does he know that I don't know? Like, that's scary when I think about it. And that's kind of how I see Hinks,
So I was talking to a couple of friends of mine the other day, and fascinating. And they're not big film buffs, but something fascinating happened in that discussion. You have been able to achieve something. I don't know if you realize this, that even a guy like Dwayne Johnson has not been able to achieve. For a long time, I think he's embraced it now, but for a long time, Dwayne Johnson tried to get people to forget he was a wrestler at some point and just look at him as an actor. Right. But when people look at Dwayne, they still kind of see the wrestler first. Sure. And I was talking to some friends, and Dave Bautista came up, and their first reaction was, the actor. The actor. Yeah,
that's so good to hear, man.
You've managed to achieve that, where somebody like even Dwayne Johnson, who's had a lot of great success, hasn't. What do you think it is about you and your personality that just make people remember you and become endeared to you and now think of you as you are, an actor?
It's maybe the way I approach it. I always approached it as wanting to be an actor. I wanted to be a good actor, wanted to be a better actor, a successful actor, a working actor. Where I think there was something about Dwayne. I think even before he stepped in front of a camera, he was already a movie star. Right. And I think that's what they will always. He'll always be. He's a movie star, man. He is a movie star. There's no arguing that he's a movie star. You look at the guy, you can feel him walk in a room. Right. It's just, even if he doesn't say anything, you can just feel something feels weird, and you look around, he's in the room. With me, not so much. There's nothing. People always find this hard to believe, but I can go in a room and I can blend in. I can be very unnoticeable.
Not as easy as you think.
Well, no, I can. I swear I can. I can be very low key, but I'm a quiet person. I'm an understated person. I think that's just about me. But I think that's always the way I've approached it, as being an actor, not being a movie star. And there's nothing. I don't have that type of mentality. I don't have that type of charisma. I don't aspire to be a movie star. I could give a rat's ass about being a movie star. Right. I want to be an actor. And I think the roles that I've chosen to really pursue with all my heart are acting roles. I don't think I've not been looking to be that leading man. I don't see myself as that guy. Right. I want to be a character actor. And I think it's all I guess it's all perception and the way you perceive yourself and who you desire to be. And I don't desire to be a movie star. I will never carry myself in that manner. I want to be an actor. I want to be a working actor. I want to be respected by my peers and work with great directors.
Well, you mentioned, after Guardians happened, your phone started ringing a little bit more. Right. Pretty soon now, you're going to have Guardians and a James Bond film on your resume. Yeah. What's in the future right now for Dave Bautista?
Well, we got a busy year coming up. And actually, this is the first year, and I'm so happy and proud to say this. This is the first year I've been a working actor. I mean, I worked nonstop this year, and it was really all after Guardians came out. It was like I had a month off. And then I've been working ever since. And I did some fun stuff this year. I did 4 films back to back. I got to do a film with Robert De Niro. That's crazy. And it's not a big budget film, and it's not going to be a huge blockbuster, but it was a great experience. And I think it's got, some really good elements about the film. But I think more importantly is I just got to do a film with Robert De Niro, and actually, a great director as well, and that's what it's about for me. I think that's what this journey is about for me. Is I really I want to be in films. I want to be an actor. This is what I love. That's why I fell in love with this. This is why I love wrestling to do this. Right. And I'm there now. I'm there. I'm rolling with the punches, and I'm working, and I'm just kind of just enjoying the ride.
Well, listen, seriously, man, we love seeing you on screen. I
you.
can't wait to see how you develop even more in the
thank
future. We're so thrilled for your success. Congratulations.
it,
We
man.
can't wait to see you in Spectre.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.